Hey guys, it's JP. Oh boy, this is going to be a fun one. So, I want to talk about how my credit score will make my online business 1 million plus this year alone. I feel like everyone online is always talking about their little hack that they have or their secret sauce for growing. And for the most part, I don't really believe in a hack or secret sauce, but I will say that if there has been one thing that has given me a competitive edge, has helped me survive at low times, and if you want to call it a hack, has been my hack for building a business and putting myself in a position to have a seven figure business, it has been my credit score and what my credit score has been able to get me. It's honestly funny, and when I talk to most people and I talk about your credit score, I'm like, hey, so like, what's your credit score? Or ask them what the meaning of their credit score is, and most for the most part, I mean, like, does a credit score have much meaning? No, I mean, it's more or less just a something that the banks can look at, and like that's when I ask people, I'm like, so what's your credit score, or like, what is a credit score? And they're like, oh, well, I mean, isn't it that's just that number that when I apply for my auto loan, they just have to look at the number, and like that's about as far as it goes, but and I thought the same thing until I looked deeper into it and I was able to find a way, to use my credit score, or position my credit score in a certain way that it allowed me to unlock some crazy, crazy perks, which is what I'm going to talk about today and how I've used it and how it's helped me get to the point where now I'm in a position where I can have $1 million plus per year business because it wasn't always like that. Funny enough, this wasn't, a lot of times I feel like something bad happens in someone's life, and that's how they find this thing that they became obsessed with. And my story was no different. I owned a watch company. Watch company went belly up. I had a bunch of high interest funding that we had used to start the watch company with, and whenever everything fell apart, I was stuck with two choices. I could either apply or file for bankruptcy, have everything removed, but I would now be in a terrible spot with my credit report, my credit score. I wouldn't have been able to get approved for anything, or I had to find a different way. And the different way that I found was getting 0% business credit. I was able to get plenty 0% business credit to refinance all of the debt from the watch company. And then I was able to use the extra that I had to build my next venture. And the reason this was so impactful for me, and this is, or, that's, the way I'm using my credit score, which has been, and why I say it will make my company a million plus this year. Like, is my credit score actually doing anything to make me a million? No, but it's what it allowed me to get that it has put me in that position. Because there has been many times where I had bought into a bunch of mentors in the past because, I didn't know anything about the online world. I didn't know anything about ads. I didn't know anything about building a successful online business. I knew nothing, but I was able to afford to pay really, really good mentors, people who had made millions of dollars in what I was wanting to do. And that's exactly why I'm able to be in a position now where I have the knowledge to have a seven figure business, was because I was able to pay the right people to help me. And also, and there were times where, in business, it's hard. So online business is so simple in nature, and just building a business is simple in nature, but it's not easy. Like, the whole idea of like, okay, well, you need to just set up, you need to have a valuable offer. You need to be offering them something that's way more valuable than what you're charging them. There needs to be a 10x multiple on that. And it's like, you need to run ads, or you need to message people, and you just get clients, you get leads. It sounds so simple, and technically it is simple, but it's just not easy. There's so many things in between there that's hard. And there are a lot of times in business where, or at least for me, back in the day when I was building it and I was just getting started, um, there were months where I couldn't make ends meet with the business because I didn't have consistent cash flow. I would maybe make money 1 month, but then I'd have a 2 month span where I wasn't making money. And in that time I was getting married. Shortly after, we were on our way to having my son that I have now, and I couldn't make ends meet per month. So like but I would use that funding to help bridge that gap. I'd use the funding to buy help from the experts, and then I'd also use the funding at the times when I truthfully could not pay the bills that month, and it would help me bridge over to the next month. And there were times where I'd need to bridge for multiple months on end, but because I didn't stop and I had this funding to be able to float me through, I was able to survive the trials. I was able to set myself up, build the business, get clientele, get results for them. And then now I'm to a point now where I have a business that's doing very, very well. We have 100% client success rate. And it's just, I'm super, super happy, but I give all the thanks to being able to get 0% funding, because I didn't have revenue. I didn't have documents to prove. So the ability to be able to get hundreds of thousands of dollars at a 0% interest rate and not having to provide proof of income was everything for me. I mean, that literally got me to where I am now. I would not be here because I would have had to have quit everything, gotten a job to be able, because I had from the watch company. And even after I refinanced the debt from the watch company, I still had monthly debt I had to pay. So there were a lot of times where the debt load was too much. I would have had to have gotten a full-time job somewhere else in sales, which I did at one point. But I probably wouldn't have been able to continue on my business journey, and I would have been very discouraged. So it allowed me to stay in the game long enough to finally get to where I am now, to where I can help other people. I have a successful company, and I survived what I call the trials of entrepreneurship, because they are trials. I remember when I first got into entrepreneurship, it was in 2019. I remember I'd heard someone say or tell me, one of my mentors, that it's going to take you about 5 years to really put it together. He's like, that is the average time it will take someone. He's like, you're going to have a lot of ups, you're going to have downs, and those who survive will make it on the other end. But usually that's around the 5-year mark. And it was almost the 5-year mark to a T where things tipped heavy in my favor. It was early 2019 whenever I first got into entrepreneurship, when I first started building online businesses. And literally in the spring of 2024 is when the business blew up, almost exactly to a T, 5 years. But I don't believe I would have made it those 5 years with the amount of mentors I was buying, and with the debt from other companies and school debt. And I wouldn't have been able to survive 5 years. I would have had to have gotten a different job, and I would have had to work my way up. I would have been super busy, and I don't think I would have been able to put in the hours and put in the time to make it. And 0% business credit is what helped me get through those times and now be in a position where I can be a 7-figure business. I can be $1 million earner. And I'm super, super thankful. I know I'm just rambling at this point, but it's been so beneficial for me. And I know for a fact it can be beneficial to any online business that's trying to scale. Even if you already have strong revenue, getting an extra $100,000 to pump into your business is rarely ever going to result in you making less money. Now, if someone's doesn't have a business, getting access to 150K, 200K, 100K, whatever it is, that may not be very beneficial because they don't really have an avenue to really put the money into, or a system to put the money in, and they can get money back out. But if you have a business, you want to have a business, and you have an idea, and you already have an offer, if you already have some revenue, throwing in 6 figures into that company is almost always going to result in you getting a way larger return, and is going to allow you to scale faster. There were a lot of times, even when the business first started doing well, maybe I wanted to spend money on ads, and my ad budget what was recommended to me by mentors was I needed to spend 5K on this ad campaign. Well, if I have like 7K in the business bank account and I have to spend 5K on ads, that's going to hurt. That hurt really, really bad, because that's almost all of the cash in my bank account I have to put towards ads. And in the event I don't get an immediate return from those ads, and I have to wait a couple of months before that money comes back, you could run into cash flow issues really, really easily. So just the ability to spend, instead of having to spend 5K, I could spend 10, 15, 20K. And if it takes 3, 4, 5 months for that money to come back, it doesn't matter because I'm putting this onto 0% business credit cards. So I'm paying zero interest. The monthly payment is incredibly low, and I can afford to wait for that money to come back. This guy that I had paid a long time ago to help me with ads said it usually will take you about 10 to 20K in ads before you really figure out that scenario or that just the hook that really starts making your ads convert. But like a lot of times you have to do a lot of testing. Well, if you only have 5 to 10K in cash in your bank account, and that's what you're going to be using for your ads, it's hard to wait those, spend the 20K and wait 3 to 4 months for your ads to finally be really profitable. But if you have access to 100K in funding, you could spend 20K, not even blink an eye, wait for that return to come back. And then let's say at the 20K mark, your ads start converting really, really well. Well, now you have another 80K that you can pump into what's already working super well. And boom, now you have a big business. And it's just, to me, it makes all the sense in the world. Also, business credit cards and just credit cards in general are the only thing that I've ever seen where you get multiple benefits from one thing. So what I mean by that is, you have the one business credit card, but there's so many benefits that you're getting from that. You're not only getting all this capital to spend on your ads, to spend in your business, to expand your team, just like grow your revenue, you're also building up a incredibly large queue of points. Like I have so many points right now. It's ridiculous. And for the past around about 4 years, I haven't paid for a vacation. Now, when I say I haven't paid for a vacation, when I go there, do I spend money on food and stuff? And of course, yes, you cannot use points for food and different items like that. But when it comes to the most expensive parts of trips, the plane ride, the car rental, the resort stay, all of that stuff is covered by points. So I don't know about you, but for me, whenever I got into the business world, one of my main things was I wanted to travel. I wanted to take super cool vacations. My dream when I was younger was I wanted to go to the Florida Keys. And when I took my first trip to the Florida Keys, I didn't even pay for it because I didn't have to. I'd built up so many points that the plane ride was free, the resort stay was free, and I paid very, very little money for a vacation that normally would have cost people a lot of money. That could have been easily a 5K vacation. And I barely paid anything. It was probably around like $500 because I was just buying food and whatnot. But there's very few things in this world where you can just, especially like if you don't have a business, I can see where maybe you can't spend enough money on your credit cards. I mean, I think every person should be using credit cards because one, it's building your credit score, you're getting points. But I could see where people are just back and forth on like, well, if I have a credit card, I don't want to overspend on it. Or if like they have a personal credit card, it's like I don't want to overspend on it, and the points just really aren't worth that much because like I find myself where I have this large credit limit. They're overspending. I get that, but when you own a business, having a business credit card is like a cheat code because you get so much more capital to scale that thing, and then you also have the points factor on the back end. And now whenever you want to take a free vacation, when you want to take a free vacation, it's on the house because you can just book it with your points. I'm not going to say much else. I could ramble on forever, but that's exactly how my credit score will make my company 1 million plus this year. It helped me weather the tough times. It gave me the capital to get help from experts so I could decrease my learning curve. Instead of me having to go on YouTube or go on blogs and spending years trying to figure this out, I was able to pay experts. They could give me the systems. They could just tell me exactly what to avoid. And then now I'm still like, it's not like this is something I used in the past and now I'm past that. I don't need them anymore. I still use them every single day of my life. I use them for different purchases. I use them for my ads. I'm using them for literally ads right now. And then I'm just building up crazy amounts of points. Like you will never find a time where I am not using business credit cards and 0% business credit to scale my business. It just won't happen because it has been so beneficial. And I do not think I would have been where I am right now if it was not for them. But all right, rant over. That's all I got for you. I'll catch you in the next one.